So, today we're diving into the haunting true story behind Robert Kolker's incredible investigative book, Lost Girls. It's a story that kicks off with a single, frantic 911 call and spirals into this massive, decade-long search for a killer. Okay, let's get right into it. It all starts with a question that, on the surface seems tragically simple. A young woman goes missing. The police are called in to find her. But what they end up finding is anything but simple. Because that search for just one woman ends up blowing the lid off a whole string of murders, exposing the shadow world that's operating right under the surface of suburbia and creating a mystery that, to this day, still haunts Long Island. All right, so let's rewind. Let's go all the way back to the beginning, to the night it all started, and the shocking discovery that just changed everything. The whole thing begins with just pure chaos. In the early hours of the morning, Shannon Gilbert is seen running from a client's house in this quiet, gated community called Oak Beach. She's actually on the phone with 911, screaming that somebody is trying to kill her. And then, she just disappears. And here's the thing that's just so tragic. 7 months. For 7 long months, there was basically no real movement on Shannon's case. Because she was an escort, the police response, well, it seemed pretty indifferent. The search only took a horrifying new direction when a police officer and his canine unit were just doing a routine training exercise nearby. Pretty quickly, police started to realize they had stumbled onto a mystery that had been brewing for years. I mean, yeah, Shanann disappeared in 2010, but other women had been vanishing since at least 2007. All the pieces were there, but nobody had connected the dots. And this is the real gut punch moment. Along this desolate stretch of road, they find human remains, then another set. And another, and another. 4 bodies, all of them wrapped in burlap, all of them fitting a similar profile. The search for Shannon Gilbert had accidentally uncovered a serial killer's dumping ground. But Shannon herself? She was still missing. Now, as you can imagine, this discovery set off a media firestorm. But Robert Kolker's work does something really important. It forces us to look past the sensational headlines and actually focus on the real people at the heart of this tragedy. The media, they immediately slapped this label on them, Craigslist prostitutes. And that term just felt like a dismissal, right? But Kolker's reporting peels that label back to show us these complex, 3-dimensional lives. These were women from tough backgrounds, for sure, but they were also mothers and daughters and sisters. They had their own hopes and their own dreams. We have to say their names. They're important. Maureen Brainerd Barnes, Melissa Bartholomew, Megan Waterman, and Amber Lynn Costello. These are the women who became known as the Gilgo Four. They weren't just statistics in some murder case. They were people whose lives were cut way too short. And what they shared was more than just their tragic fate. They shared a world, a new and pretty dangerous one, this digital frontier that offered both opportunity and total anonymity. So to really get what happened here, you have to understand the environment that made it all possible. This wasn't the old school street corner. This was a whole new kind of danger. This is what Kolker calls the world of the internet age escort. The internet, and especially sites like Craigslist, it totally changed the sex trade. It let women work for themselves, set their own prices, even screen their clients. On one hand, it felt safer, more empowering. But on the other, it created this new vulnerability, connecting them with clients who could be complete anonymous ghosts. The book's description just nails it, framing the case as, quote, a portrait of the underside of the internet and of the secrets we keep without admitting to ourselves that we keep them. It really exposed this hidden world, and the secrets kept not just by the people in it, but by society that kind of preferred to just look the other way. So as this whole investigation unfolded, that picture-perfect image of this quiet Long Island community was just shattered. It was replaced by this growing feeling of fear and, honestly, incompetence. Let's be blunt about it, the investigation was a mess. You had turf wars between different police departments, some really questionable theories being thrown around, and just a whole series of missteps that left the victims' families completely frustrated. And what's even more disturbing, it didn't stop with those first 4 women. More remains were found along that same highway, bringing the potential number of victims up to 10, maybe even more. The scale of the horror just kept getting bigger. So you've got a killer on the loose, you have zero faith in the police. What happens? The community just starts to turn on itself. People in Oak Beach began pointing fingers, suspecting their own neighbors. The fear was absolutely palpable. And that's what it remained for over a decade. Now, recent arrests have brought some hope, but for the longest time, the case was exactly what the title of Kolker's book says it is, an unsolved American mystery, which leaves us with this final, really crucial question. When justice isn't served, when a case goes cold, what's left? The book argues that what's left are the stories of the victims, not just how they died, but how they lived. And maybe, in the end, that's the most important clue we have.